So thank you so much for coming today for our Rising Up community education series. Today is about why can't I relax? Understanding anxiety, overthinking, and a stressed nervous system. So thank you so much for coming. I am Leigh-Ann Larson, the founder and CEO of Rising Up, and Kolby Andrade is our clinical director. So thank you so much. I will be the talking head. Kolby will be leading us through experiential exercises, and we'll be both offering some journal prompts. So if you have paper and pen handy, that's great. If not, don't worry, because we will be sending out a PDF of the journal prompts with a replay of the session. Okay. So a lot of people ask, well, first and foremost, I do want to say that this is an educational thing. So this isn't like therapy. It's not like individual therapy for somebody. This is really about education and learning things about your nervous system and anxiety and how to help self-regulate and manage it. So we just like to say that. Um, Take care of yourself during this presentation. If you need to get up, if you need to grab a drink, whatever you need to do, go ahead and do it. Don't worry about us. We're fine. And also, any experiential components that we have, whether it is journaling, meditation, or we're literally asking if questions, don't feel that you need to participate. It's completely up to you what you would like to do. All right, so we're not here to stress you out more. We're here to help you have a nice time and to learn a little something about how to take care of yourself. So, a lot of people feel stressed when there's literally nothing wrong. There's nothing going on with them that is wrong, but they're just feeling stressed out. And they think, why won't my brain shut off? Why can't I relax? Oh, this is a good one. Someone just said this to me yesterday. I'm exhausted, but I'm wired. Has anyone had that feeling where you're just fatigued, but you're like, right? Or I overthink everything, right? Can anyone relate to that? Absolutely. So here's the good news. We're not broken. Actually, our nervous system is doing exactly what it learned to do because our nervous system constantly scans for safety and danger. And this process then happens automatically outside of conscious awareness, just like your heart beats. And you're not like, okay, let's beat, right? It just doesn't. Chronic stress, trauma, uncertainty, major life transitions, loss, a move, a new job, a new child, even prolonged anxiety. Maybe you have a loved one who is struggling with addiction and you're just waiting for that shoe to drop. Even prolonged anxiety can leave the nervous system spending more time in survival mode than in a state of calm. And that's really why you're feeling exhausted but wired. Why you're like overthinking. Why can't I just relax? So your nervous system has three jobs. One, it's asking, am I safe? Two, what should I be paying attention to? Right? Scanning the environment. And three, do I need to protect myself? If your nervous system decides that you're unsafe, even emotionally, it puts you in survival mode. Okay, we've heard about flight or fight, right? So, survival mode for you might look like racing thoughts, muscle tension, shallow breathing, irritability, trouble sleeping, overthinking, or difficulty concentrating. Raise your hand if you can identify with any of those. Any of them? Absolutely. So, what's the difference between stress versus anxiety? Stress usually comes from an identifiable cause. You've got a work deadline, you've got financial pressure, you've got parenting responsibilities, or maybe health concerns. Okay, so you can say, oh, yeah, this thing has put pressure on me, and so I have stress. But anxiety is what happens when your body stays prepared for danger even after the stressor has passed, or when the threat is uncertain. It can involve persistent worry, physical symptoms, and a tendency to overestimate danger. Sometimes we talk about somatic symptoms or somatic therapy, and that means body-based. You feel it in your body. So why do we overthink things? Is it a personality flaw? Is it successful when you're, the hamster's on the wheel? Your brain is often trying to resolve uncertainty because your brain believes if I think about this long enough, I will be prepared for X, Y, and Z. And unfortunately, the brain rarely thinks its way into feeling safe. As a matter of fact, the body often has to experience safety before the mind settles down. I want you to think about that. The body needs to feel calm. The body needs to be safe, feel relaxed before we can quiet this down. And that is because we have a dysregulated nervous system. And a dysregulated nervous system is actually body-based. It's not between your ears. So we have to clear that up first. So here's some signs that you have a dysregulated nervous system. Constant mental chatter, difficulty relaxing, feeling on edge, startling easily, someone comes around the corner and you jump, trouble sleeping, fatigue, feeling emotionally reactive, digestive issues, feeling numb or disconnected. These are very common signs that your autonomic nervous system may be spending too much time activated, too much time on alert. Your stress has shifted to anxiety. And so here's the good news. Your nervous system is incredibly adaptable. It can learn, it can heal, it can become more flexible. Small, repeated practices that involve breathing, movement, grounding, and awareness actually help the nervous system become more resilient over time through neuroplasticity, which is basically a way to signal to your brain you don't need to send the adrenaline. You don't need to send the cortisol. You're actually safe. You can allow your pleasure center to be active and receptive. You can let the dopamine, let the serotonin, let the gamma flow with abandon. We can really help the body learn how to do this. So instead of asking, how do I stop feeling anxious? Try asking, how do I help my nervous system feel safer? Because that's really your starting point. So here are some tried and true methods. Slowing your breathing, grounding exercises, gentle movement, connection with another person or in nature, rest, the good old nap, mindfulness, or self compassion. Small moments practiced consistently are more effective than waiting until you're overwhelmed. And I will tell you why. Because when you are overwhelmed, the house is on fire. You have so much going on that doing some breath work or doing some grounding or some movement is not going to eradicate all of the stress hormones that you have running around in your body, right? It's good to do something, but if you are able to instill a practice in your life of checking in with yourself, right? How am I doing today? What do I need today? Am I feeling safe? And then in small incremental moments, staying on top of those things that are stressing you out before it turns into an anxiety, you're going to be in much better shape. Now, Gina was with me this morning. We're very regulated right now, aren't we, Gina? Because we actually did a 90-minute program on heart coherence from the Heart Math Institute, which really utilizes both breath work, mindfulness, and meditation, staying in the moment to get regulated, to change your feelings, to change your emotions, to bring you into calm. So that's another example of something that you can do to help get your nervous system regulated. So I think that one of the things that we need to do is get curious about our nervous system. I think we need to be like, well, how does mine operate? I know for me, sleep is probably the number one sign that I can tell that I'm ready for a vacation. I am overdue for some time out because whereas I normally like to get 7 or 8 hours, I'm only getting 6 hours. Sometimes I'm only getting 5 hours, which for me is not enough. I know some people can handle that. I cannot. I like to get 7, maybe 8 hours. But I can tell when I'm starting to just get a little too much on my plate through my sleep. Does anyone else have another tell that they know? Oh, I need to like do a reset here. Anyone? Colby, do you have a tell where you're like, oh, I know what I need?
Yeah, I feel like when my nervous system is, overloaded or the signs I start to see um are like rumination, like maybe I'm in my head too much, I'm disconnected from my body. So I'm
Oh,
not even in tune with my body, but I'm just way too much up in here to the
yeah.
point where it's like, oh, have I eaten today? When's the last time I had some water? Maybe I should
Mhm.
get off my phone and do something else. So
Yeah.
I find that I tend to stay up in my head, like trying to solve the problems, trying to figure it out, which is what the brain does.
Yeah.
So something that helps me is like you were talking about, checking in with the body, and really kind of getting to know yourself and your nervous system. I think just a general understanding of how do you know what symptoms you're experiencing, what types of things set your nervous system off into these different modes, fight, flight,
All the
freeze.
things.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, all the things. Absolutely. So that's really good for you to know. When I'm in my head too much, I need to ground, right? I know you love to walk. So like going for a walk is probably a brilliant thing for you to like get in my body. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yep,
Yeah.
that and the other thing is the vibration plate that I use.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so sometimes it's 10 minutes standing on there, because one, it is something that grounds me, and two, it's the shaking. And when we talk about somatic stuff, I know that one of the nervous system techniques I like to do is a little shake. I find that the vibration plate kind of helps me with that already. So you just stand and
Mm. I
Yeah.
wish we had queued up Taylor Swift song. Shake it off. Love that one. So fun. So fun. That's awesome. Yeah. So I love too that we're not being judgmental of ourselves or critical. We're not being like, oh, you need a nap, Leigh-Ann, and oh, you need to shake it off, Kolby. We're like, yeah, like we're not critical of ourselves. We're just like noticing, like, yes, this is the thing. So let's see if we can notice within ourselves with just a couple of minutes. I'm going to give you some journal prompts. Okay. And you can put it on notes on your phone if you don't have paper handy or whatnot. But let's just take a page from my earlier presentation and let's just take a breath in so we can really make sure that we're present for ourselves. So just hands on the heart and breathe in through the nose, all the way down to the belly, and then just exhale. Just allow yourself to come into this moment. Breathing in, I am here. And just exhale. Forget about what's coming next. And breathe in. And exhale. Just forget about what was before this. Feel your feet on the floor and just allow yourself to be here now. And I want you to think about the times where you notice your feelings are the most activated or the most overwhelmed. You know, when your emotions get really big. Is it like a particular time of day? Are there particular people that trigger that? Is there an activity? What situations tend to trigger the overthinking, like what Kolby was talking about, when you get in your head too much? What situations? Is it work related or parenting, future, financial? Now think about your body. We'll do a little body scan from the top of your head all the way down to your toes. Think about this. How does anxiety show up in my body? Tight shoulders, racing thoughts, upset stomach, shallow breathing, trouble sleeping, or something else. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you actually felt calm and safe? And do you remember what happened at that time that allowed your nervous system to settle? Because when you felt safe, you had a settled nervous system. Was it your bedtime routine? Was it a call from a friend? Did you practice really good self-care that day? What was it that allowed your nervous system to settle? I can guarantee you your nervous system was settled because you can't relax without a settled nervous system. Okay. So thank you for thinking about those things. You've identified some of your own patterns, and Kolby is now going to guide us through a simple practice that helps our bodies experience what regulation actually feels like. So I'm really excited for this.
All right. Thank you, Leigh-Ann.
Mhm.
All right. So, I just invite folks to settle into a comfortable position and really just take a moment to notice that you've arrived. There's nowhere else you need to be for the next few minutes, and you don't have to change anything right now. So, just notice right now. Maybe gently look around the room and notice one thing that you can see, one thing that you can hear, and one point where your body meets the chair or the floor. And if you're comfortable, I invite you to place one hand over your heart and one hand on your abdomen. And all we're doing here is just noticing the warmth of your hands, the movement of your breath beneath them, the gentle rise and fall of your body. We're just breathing slowly and naturally here. And rather than trying to relax, simply allow yourself to notice what is already happening. And if it feels comfortable, we're going to explore a couple of small movements that feel supportive. So we'll start with the shoulders, maybe rolling them back and down. And if that felt good, maybe you shrug them back and down again. And as you do that, we're just noticing if anything is shifting in the body, what sensations might be coming up. And if it feels good, we'll turn our head side to side. You can start on whatever side feels good to you. Maybe shaking your head yes and no if that feels good. Stretching your fingers out, clenching your fists and then releasing. And we're just noticing what's already happening here. Maybe you start to sway slightly if you're seated and that feels good. And then we'll press our feet lightly into the floor. Next, we'll engage with our senses. So notice something smooth or textured nearby, the temperature of the room, any pleasant or neutral sounds. the weight of your clothing against your skin. Take another deep breath in through the nose. And then just sigh that out. Our nervous systems are always taking in information. Sometimes we can intentionally offer them reminders that in this moment, we are here. Let's take one more final slow breath in through the nose. And again, just sigh that out. And then just check in with your body. And just notice if anything has shifted prior to starting this practice. You don't have to feel completely calm for this practice to have been worthwhile. Even noticing your experience with curiosity is a meaningful way of supporting your nervous system. So now, if you still have your pen and paper handy, and we will be sending out these journal prompts later on in case you want to do them at another time or give them more thought. So sometimes the biggest shifts are subtle. Rather than judging whether the exercise worked for you, we're simply just noticing what may have changed. So you can just jot down some stuff either on your paper or in your notes app, whichever works for you. What do I notice in my body right now? What do I notice in my thoughts? Did anything soften, slow down, or become quieter? What part of today's practice felt the most helpful? What is one small nervous system practice I could realistically do this week? And finally, what would change in my life if I believed I didn't have to stay in survival mode all of the time?
I find so much value in journaling. I think it's wonderful. And that was a fabulous, fabulous practice. I will say that I felt very embodied with that practice. I felt very like, I feel like I've been very present today, but I really felt it just really grounded me. And um, with my heart coherence that I did earlier, I felt this expansion in my like heart area. But with your practice, we just did, I felt an expansion in my whole energy field. but I felt very tethered to the earth too.
Mm.
So, which that's how we slay the earth walk, right? Is to like have an activated energy, but like feel very grounded and present. So that was beautiful. Thank you. I think that the key takeaway here is that we're not going to eliminate anxiety forever, but it's to help the nervous system become more flexible so that we can move back into a regulated state after a stressor happens, right? Yeah. So, what is one way today, and maybe we can all go around and say this, that you can communicate safety to your nervous system for tomorrow? Like tomorrow, I'm going to tell my nervous system, you're safe. How are you going to do that? Healing doesn't usually happen because of one big breakthrough. More often, it happens through hundreds of small amounts, small moments where we teach our nervous system, you're safe now. Every time you pause, every time you breathe or you notice, like, okay, let me take a second, you offer yourself compassion, you're strengthening the pathway to a regulated nervous system. And so, and none of those moments are lost, huh, Colby? Like, if we know we're going to be stressed out down the road by something, oh, so I might as well not do it. Like, that's like saying, well, why make my bed? I'm just going to crawl into it later, right? It's like, yes, but it's just, it just feels better, right? We feel better. What do you think about that, Colby? The idea of the little small incrementals?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like those little small moments. I think it's, I watched a video earlier this week where it was like the more that you do those small little micro practices over and over, um, the parts of the brain kind of communicate to each other. I think it's the amygdala and the hippocampus. Like the more that you do those micro movements, not micro movements, but you know what I mean, micro practices, it's kind of like, hey, you're safe, you know? We don't have to release all those hormones and whatnot into the body, like because you're communicating to it, like you're safe. And it could be, a couple minutes of doing a butterfly tap or, 10 minutes of putting your legs up the wall and just listening to some calming music. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate or time consuming. It can just be these little gratitude is another great way. Oh, I love some gratitude.
Yeah, with
No.
smart. Yeah,
Hmm.
love that. Love that. Colby's our clinical director at Rising Up, which is our new intensive outpatient program. It's group therapy for people who are experiencing grief and loss, depression, anxiety, trauma. And the entire program was built around this idea of nervous system regulation, and that these groups offer people opportunities to practice throughout the day because they're in groups for 3 hours at each two groups a day. So they're offered opportunities within the group to take a moment and do a reset, to get educated about the nervous system, to learn about these practices. And when we had the Joint Commission come out to actually accredit us, he couldn't believe the success that our patients were experiencing. And he literally said, you need to market these numbers because this is unusual. But we built this whole program around this idea that we need to utilize nervous system regulation as a foundation before we put the other work in place. Does that make sense? As we're teaching and as everyone's learning. And it's been really an awesome experience, which is why we're here on Eventbrite to share that with whomever is interested in learning about it. Yeah. I'm glad you guys came to spend some time with us. We are doing at least one, if not two, freebies a month. So hop on board with that. Also, my grief community is starting up again August of 2026. So take a look at that or spread the word about that for people. And thank you so much for being compassionate to yourself and not critical. You know, we all have nervous systems that get dysregulated. It's not a personality flaw. That just means that your system is working. And I think that that's probably a key takeaway for sure. Also, based on energy psychology and mindfulness and how do we, forge a new path in this new day and age, which I think, honestly, I think we're all forging a new path in 2026, no matter what's going on, right? Yeah. Mhm. All right. Well, thank you so much. Any last minute questions or we good? All right. Well, hopefully we will see you at our next event, if not sooner.